Hey guys, welcome to linguamarina. Today we're going to talk about the 22nd most used word in English, and as you might have guessed, this word is but. We use but all the time, when we speak, when we write. However, if you find yourself using but too often, you might want to watch this video up to the very end because I'm going to provide you with some alternatives. And what you've noticed already is that I could have said, but if you find yourself using the word but very often. I used however, and however is one of the ways to replace the word but and sound more like a native speaker and sound more beautiful in English. So let's start. But before we start, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and like this video, because you know what my goal is? There are so many channels here on YouTube teaching English, and if you compare by the number of subscribers, I'm number 6. I want to be top 3. Help me to get into top 3. I think we have all chances with you guys. So if you subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends, this would really help me accomplish my internal goal. The word but is one of the coordinating conjunctions in the English language. The other ones that you might know are and, or, so, for, nor, and yet. But is used to contrast two parts of a sentence that are different in some way. So let me go straight to an example. I liked the dinner, but I didn't like the dessert. So we're contrasting. In the first part of the sentence, you're saying you enjoyed dinner, but in the second part, you're contrasting it with the fact that you didn't like the dessert. So the first way to replace but is to use the word yet. And yet is another coordinator that we talked about already. I liked the dinner, yet I didn't like the dessert.
Yet.
And because they're both coordinating conjunctions, you don't really have to change anything about the sentence. You just replace but with yet, and here you go. You already sound more interesting. Although, though, even though. Another way to replace but. Let's stick to our example to make it easier. I liked the dinner, although I didn't like the dessert. I liked the dinner, though I didn't like the dessert. I liked the dinner, even though I didn't like the dessert. So in this example, we just put all the words in the middle of the sentence, nothing changed, easy peasy. But however, there is something else we can do. We can put those words at the beginning of the sentence. Now let's look at how our examples change. Although I liked the dinner, I didn't like the dessert. Though I liked the dinner, I didn't like the dessert. Even though I liked the dinner, I didn't like the dessert.
Although. I like although.
Except for. In order to use except for in our example, we actually need to get rid of the subject and the verb in the second part. And we will end up with a sentence, I liked the dinner except for the dessert. So we basically removed I didn't like from the second sentence.
Except for.
Besides. Again, same meaning as but if you decide to use besides, you need to change the sentence that you're using. Besides the dessert, I really liked the dinner. So the same thing happened. We had to remove the subject and the verb in the second part, in the contradictory part of our sentence.
Besides.
I'm giving you these alternatives to the word but, and you realize that sometimes you need to change the sentence, and I know it is really hard to remember how exactly the sentence needs to be changed. The thing is, the more you learn English, the more you develop and train your inner ear, or whatever you call it, to detect whether the sentence doesn't sound natural. And if you hear somebody say, I liked the dinner except for I didn't really like the dessert, you'll be like, something is wrong. And sometimes you can't really say what exactly is wrong, and this is where Hi Native, an app that is sponsoring this video, comes to help. With Hi Native, you can ask any question to English native speakers or to any other native speakers of a language that you're learning. So when you start an app, you go to this homepage and you see the questions that were already asked. For example, what's the difference between spunky and brave? And then a native speaker would actually get back to you and provide examples of how you use these words and how they're different. Let's use Hi Native to ask native speakers what they would use instead of but. There is an option in the app called free question. Okay. What are the alternatives to the word but. Next. Boast. Here we go. I got the answer. Took less than 90 seconds. However, on the other hand, we're going to talk about it, although we talked about it, except not including. I like not including because I like the dinner, not including lunch. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, here we go. So with high native, you can use expressions that are actually used by native speakers and not textbook expressions. And high native is a community where people help each other. So you not only ask questions about the English language, but you can also answer questions about your own language. Download High Native app using the link in the description box below. By the way, all formats of questions except for Foreign Language Diary and Does This Sound Natural? The rest is free. These two are paid. Again, the link is down below. Download High Native and start asking and answering questions about languages. Apart from. Apart from is used in the same way as besides. Apart from the dessert, I like the dinner.
Apart from.
Despite. Yes, you can use it as replacement for but again, you have to change your sentence a little bit. Let's look at the example. Despite liking the dinner, I didn't like the dessert. So with despite, we actually change the first part of the sentence and we remove I and we again remove the subject.
Despite recent events.
However, we use however to show that something we're saying now contrasts with something we've said before, and you can't really use it, well, you can, but ideally you use it in a separate sentence. I really like the dinner, however, I didn't like the dessert. So you can either use semicolon, because semicolon kind of tells you that these are actually two separate thoughts. So you can do that, or you can just create two separate sentences from whatever you had. I like the dinner. The next sentence, however, I didn't like the dessert. And make sure you put a comma after however. Yes, you can use however in the middle of the sentence, but still you would need to separate your initial example. So let's look at it. I like the dinner. Then we start the second sentence, but we don't start with however. We can put however in the middle. I didn't, however, like the dessert. But again, don't forget that you need a comma before however and after however. And if you have questions about where to put commas, I have a whole video about commas. I think it's the most comprehensive video about commas I've ever seen. The link is down below.
However,
in contrast is the next way to replace but in your speech. It is used the same way as however, but it's just more formal. I liked the dinner. In contrast, I didn't like the dessert. And you might be wondering, Marina, there are so many examples. How am I supposed to use them in my speech all the time? You don't have to use them in your speech all the time. If I were you, I would definitely memorize these examples and I would use all the alternatives when you write essays, when you write emails, because when I write something and then I look at it, I just see one word repeat itself many, many times. But, I, very, very, very. So I would just look at the text once again and try to replace the words that I've used too many times. Okay, we have a couple more options left. Another way to replace but is to use the word nevertheless. It is used in the same way as however and in contrast. I liked the dinner, nevertheless, I didn't like the dessert.
Nevertheless.
On the other hand, is used in the same meaning as but please remember that when you use on the other hand, that means that previously you should have used on the one hand. Let's look at the example to make it clear. On the one hand, I liked our dinner today. On the other hand, I think that the dessert was disgusting. Disgusting means very bad, not very tasty, but it's a strong word. So if you're using this word, make sure nobody gets offended, because I would be really offended if I cook dessert and somebody tells me it's disgusting. Okay, homework. Replace the word but in the sentences that I'm gonna give you. The weather wasn't good, but I enjoyed my trip to the lake. My friend doesn't usually read books, but he read Harry Potter. I like your outfit, but I don't like your shoes. Please note that you shouldn't really say this to anyone. I mean the last sentence. Thank you guys so much for watching this video up to the very end. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you share this channel with your friends and with other students in your class, maybe. to help us become top 3 English language learning channels on YouTube by subscriber count. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon in my next videos every Wednesday. Tune in and enjoy another class with me. Bye bye.